ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فقال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا وقال الله تبارك وتعالى في مقام آخر وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الأمين المختار الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. इंतहाई मोहतरम और मुकर्रम मेरे बुज़ुर्गों नौजवान साथियों, आइए हम और आप मिलकर अक़ीदत व मोहब्बत के साथ आक़ाए नामदार हम सब के ताजदार हुज़ूर ख़ातमुल मुरसलीन रहमतुल लिल आलमीन सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की बारगाह में मिलकर दुरूद पाक का हदिया पेश करें और पढ़ें। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला सय्यिदिना व हबीबिना व शफ़ीइना मौलाना मुहम्मदिन व आलिहि व सहबिही व बारिक व सल्लिम सलातन व सलामन अलैका या रसूल अल्लाह। Ramzan Pak, it came with the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He blessed each and every one of us with tremendous mercy and blessings of Allah Azza wa Jal. First of all, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for granting the sinners like us this blessed and great month. And not just 29 days, Allah gave this last day of 30th of Ramadan Pak with the 5th Jumā. It doesn't happen often. We usually have 4 Jum'as in the month of Ramadan, but this year we are observing this 5th Jumā. So Jumā itself has blessings, and then it is the month of Ramadan, it carries even more blessings. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue His mercy upon us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue the tawfiq that He gave us to come to the masjid, to attend the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during the month of Ramadan. What we are going to understand today, it is not the debate about the moon, because we have done it in the past. We are no longer interested, as well as we are no longer required to prove ourselves. What we are going to do today is rather important aspect of the life of a Muslim. That usually in Ramzan Pak, the jazbah that we attain, the piety and the taqwa that we receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala via various means. Could be our amal, it could be our sincerity in the month of Ramadan, it could be many other ways that we attain this consciousness, that we attain this God consciousness within ourselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses almost every individual in the month of Ramadan. To understand, I'll give you a simple example. An example from our mosque. In I'tikaf, we had 2 children with their fathers. One stayed for 4 days and 4 nights, and the other one stayed for around 2 days or 3 days. A young child who is probably 9 or 10, how does he get this jazbah of staying in masjid? Staying away from the gadgets. Today, we find it very difficult and very hard to tell our child not to touch their tablet. not to play the games, not to watch. It's the month of Ramadan. We can't even come to the terms that in the month of Ramadan, these things should be not in use. But Ramadan gives this boost to those who are chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah ta'ala says that وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those who struggle in our cause, we will surely guide them. So what's the first condition? To struggle in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the prime example and proof of that? That if you struggle in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will guide you. Look at the month of Ramadan. In the month of Ramadan, for the entire month, we stayed away from eating and drinking from dawn till dusk. Who stopped you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You struggle with yourself. If you're hungry, it doesn't matter. If you're thirsty, it doesn't matter. If you are going to work, it doesn't matter. If you are going to school, colleges, universities, it doesn't matter. You're struggling with yourselves to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the end of the day, when you sit down for the iftar, how did you feel? The entire day you remain hungry, and then you sat down to break your fast. Those pleasant feelings that you have. This is what you call لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will surely guide you to the path of Allah. But generally, what happens when the month of Ramadan is over, when the month of Ramadan finishes, the struggle goes, the striving that we started from day one of Ramadan, and for many pre-Ramadan preparations, the schedule of work, checking what is the most suitable time to take the holidays. This is the struggle that you had pre-Ramadan, and what happens post-Ramadan. After Ramadan, many of us, from the day of Eid, from the Fajr of Eid, the struggle is gone. We drop all the weapons in front of shaitan. We drop everything, we surrender ourselves in front of shaitan. The namaz begins from the namaz, is gone. What was the purpose of Ramadan? The purpose of this beautiful month is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So you may attain piety and you became pious. A servant that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in reality wants to see, a pious one. If you have attained all of that, if you have become close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you have spent 29, 30 days pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then why would you drop it in one day? Why would you disconnect yourselves from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in one day? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He actually commanded us to perform good deeds. This connection of good deeds and Ramadan is not just for 1 month. It's not just for the month of Ramadan. It is after Ramadan as well. Ramadan just comes to show you the path. It comes to show you that this is how your life should be throughout the year. But once you start doing good deeds, Allahu Akbar. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you struggle a little bit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put you on the right path. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring you close to Him. And in Bukhari, the hadith says, Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam stated, when a person comes a handspan near me, in hadith Qudsi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, many times we feel that a person like me is a sinner. A person like me who has done a lot of wrong deeds, committed sins. How can I get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? But you have to start from somewhere. You have to start from a point which you feel that this is the time and this is something that I want to do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What could be the better way than straight after Ramadan, you continue that path. You continue those deeds that you used to do in the month of Ramadan. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Hadith Qudsi, in Bukhari Sharif, He says, when a person comes a handspan near me, I will come full arm length towards him. You go close to Allah this much, Allah says, I come close to him this much. Which means, we just have to put little bit effort and then see how Allah guides us. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps us close to Him. Because that is what He wants. To be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Hadith says, when He comes arm's length towards me, I will come twice as much near to Him. And if He comes walking towards me, I will come running to Him. This is our Creator. He is telling you and I, in other words, that the struggle that you had in the month of Ramadan, you must continue. The struggle you had in this beautiful month and the hard work you did, do not waste it. The hard work you did in the month of Ramadan, it should last you for the whole year. It should last you throughout the year. And it should remind you each time when you walk outside. It should remind you each time when you are in your bedroom about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the consciousness that you should have about your Creator. This is the purpose of the month of Ramadan. For many of us, the month of Ramadan could be once a year, the ritual of fasting, having nice food, having suhoor, having this healthy routine every day. After Ramadan, everything is gone. Allahu Akbar. Imagine an example. There is a person who tries to lose his weight. Okay, he's suppose 80 kg, but gradually he works and he loses 20 kg. He reaches to 60. He reaches to 60. Now, what is important for him? And what is the achievement? Losing or maintaining? What's the answer? Maintaining. Likewise, a person in the month of Ramadan, he attended masjid every day, 5 times a day. A servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he recited Quran and he completed it. A servant of Allah came to masjid every night. He stood for 20 rakats plus the rakats of Isha and listened to the entire Holy Quran. What a great achievement it is. But again, look at the person who lost 20 kg, reached to 60. When he reached to 60, he became very happy. I attained my goal. He started eating again. He started becoming careless. What happens then? He'll start gaining again. Within a month, not even a month, few weeks, he will be again on 80. Right? Likewise, a person when he attains piety in the month of Ramadan, and once the month of Ramadan is over, he drops everything. He does not care about his salah. He does not care about his Quran. He does not care about his character the character that he attained and achieved in the month of Ramadan. When he stopped doing all of these, within few weeks, everything that he achieved in the month of Ramadan will be void. Everything that he gained from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the month of Ramadan, he will lose them. Allahu Akbar. In general, in the month of Ramadan, we have a routine. We sit down, we know when to pray Quran. We know when to do zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many of us, we come to the terms where we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But after Ramadan, what do we feel? That there is no time. Yes, Maulana, there is no time. When shall I pray Quran? When shall I do this? When shall I do that? How did we find time in the month of Ramadan? Yes, there is time. We have free time. But what we do, we misuse the time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. We do not use the time wisely. As a Muslim, using our time wisely is a vital part of our life. Balancing our life between the deen and dunya is at most necessary. Why? Because we actually are created for the akhirat, not for the dunya. Ad-dunya sijnul lil mu'min wa jannatul lil kafir. The luxury that we try and achieve in this dunya, Rasul Akram alayhi salatu wasalam stated, Ad-dunya sijnul lil mu'min. Dunya is sijn, it's a prison for a mu'min, wa jannatul lil kafir. And it's a jannah for a non-believer. If we are looking for the jannah in this dunya, we imbalance our life. We spend all the time for the dunya, and then we say, Maulana, when can I get the time to pray Quran? Maulana, I don't get time to come to masjid. Yes, these are the complaints. If we really look into it, the month of Ramadan gives us the discipline. The question is, are we going to continue this discipline? If you have never experienced it outside of Ramadan, try this Shawwal. Try for 1 month. Continue this routine, coming to masajid. Continue this routine of coming to the durus. Continue this routine of reciting the Holy Quran, picking up the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then feel that peace. Then feel how close you feel to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But again, if we imbalance our life, if we spend all of our time for the sake of dunya, what does the Hadith Pak state? In Bukhari and Muslim, Rasul Akram alayhi salatu wasalam, he stated, 3 things follow the dead to the grave. When a person dies, there are 3 things that follow him all the way to his grave. His family, his wealth, and his good work. How many things? 3 things. Family, because they are grieving. They want to attend the burial. They want to come for your Salatul Janazah. But again, none of the family member wants to keep you. Why? Because you are no longer used for this dunya. You have to leave for the akhirat. Your family, your wealth. And the final thing is your good deeds. Hadith Pak says that 2, they return. Only 1 stay with you. What comes back? Your family. They will never stay there with you. Regardless of how much they love you. How close your son is to you. How close you are to your daughter. How close you could be to your family members. Nobody will stay with you in your grave or next to your grave forever. They may visit you because they love you. But you alone have to deal with your life in the grave. Your wealth, we have never seen anyone taking any debit or credit cards with them. We have never seen anyone taking any savings with them in their graves. The only thing they take is their kafan, the shroud that they have been given. And Rasul Akram alayhi salatu wasalam stated the other invisible thing is his good deeds. His a'mal remain with him. Now it's up to us that do we become the servants of our desire, or do we become the servants of dunya, or we try and please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stay true servants of Allah Azza wa Jal. It's up to us. Now, how do we deal with this? How do we continue our life post Ramadan as a good believer? How do we continue our deeds in terms of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It is very easy to go on the wrong path. It is very easy for a young man within 2 days to become a dealer. It is very easy for a young man within 2 days to have certain things and delivering from door to door, alleyways to alleyways. But it is very hard for him to come out and then stay upon it. This is the chance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you and I the entire month of Ramadan. We have spent pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to continue this. What can we do then? Few habits. Continuing our salah, regardless of whether you are at home or at work or you come to masjid. But again, coming to masjid, the way you came during the month of Ramadan, the way you attended the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the month of Ramadan is utmost important. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said that masajid, they are my houses. Masjid is the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The peace and tranquility and blessings you attain in the masjid and house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't find anywhere else. A person, when he comes to the masjid and performs his salah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards him 27 times more than if he had performed at home. How many times? 27 times more reward for one salah. So imagine if you even make it to 2 salahs in weekdays, and if you make it to all 5 salahs in weekend, how much reward will multiply for you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. रमज़ान पाक का महीना रब के हमें करीब कर देता है, लेकिन रमज़ान के जाते ही जिस तरह से हम सबसे पहली तो चांद की बहस होने लगती है, भाई हमने नहीं किया, उसने किया, उसने नहीं किया, उसने ऐलान किया. We leave this to the experts, that those who did it on the day of Qiyamah, they will answer. Those who follow blindly on the day of Qiyamah, वो जवाब देंगे. हम क्यों अपनी रमज़ान पाक के आमाल को ख़राब करें? तो पहली फ़िक्र ये होनी चाहिए कि रमज़ान के बाद अपना जो रूटीन है वो मैं कैसे जारी रखूँगा. Salah is fast. If you can't make it to 5 salahs to masjid, at least once a day visit the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make promise to yourselves that the way I came to houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the month of Ramadan, at least one salah I will pray in the masjid. And to those who are fathers, we all want to see our children grow up in the best Islamic manner. But begin from bringing them to the masjid. Weekends, there is no excuse. 1 salah, 2 salahs. If you come, your child will come with you. At the age of 5, 6, when you give them this habit of coming to masjid and bringing them to masjid with you, when they are 14, you won't have to tell them to go to masjid, because they'll know the path to the masjid. You won't have to show them the path to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when at the age of 14, you'll tell them, let's go to masjid, he will think twice. Hang on, what my dad is saying, go to masjid. Yes, he will be very unfamiliar with those phrases. He never heard, let's go to masjid. So coming to the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, tilawat of Quran. It is not hard to find 5 minutes of your time. 5 minutes to do the tilawat of Quran. Is it a big ask from a mu'min? It is not. If we can work 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours of shift a day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 5 minutes every day to read the Holy Quran. What does Quran do? It cleans your heart. The hardness you feel in your heart, that you hear something about deen. You hear something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You hear the hadith of Rasul Akram alayhi salatu wasalam. Maulana, it doesn't enter in my heart. It feels that heart has gone very hot. Recite Holy Quran every day. Make the habit. 1 page a day, 5 minutes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for that. Attending durus. Getting knowledge of the deen is very important. And getting knowledge of the deen from the scholars is very important. What's happening nowadays with most of the uni students, they have WhatsApp groups. All of their knowledge is taken from those WhatsApp groups. Who sends it? Any Wahhabi? Anybody who does not have correct Aqidah? We don't even know. We take from anyone and everyone. Is that the way to gain the knowledge? No. Come to masajid. Come to the scholars. Sit in front of them. That if you have any doubt, you can there and then talk to them. You can there and then speak to them and remove your doubts. So gain the knowledge. Make time for tilawat. Make time for salah. Make time to gain the knowledge, even if it's once a week, to come and see the scholar. Aap yahan hain. Come to our masjid. We are here for you. Zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Zikr not necessarily in the meaning of sitting down and doing zikr whilst you're driving, to have the consciousness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching me, lowering your gaze, not to staring at ghair mahram. When you're on social media, not to go through the profiles of girls, clicking on their photos, liking, disliking. Because this is not allowed in Islam. We may say whatever we want. We live in this society. Islam does not change. Society may change. The rules of Islam in terms of mahram and ghair mahram, they do not change for you. They remain the same. You have to change your habits for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If in the month of Ramadan you have stayed away from these mahram and ghair mahram and you kept these barriers, you must keep these barriers after Ramadan Kareem as well. This is also part of zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And finally, tawbah. Keep repenting, keep remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and repenting to Allah. Rasul Akram used to do tawbah 70 times a day. Being a ma'soom, sinless, Rasulullah alayhi salatu did tawbah 70 times a day. We are full of sins. We don't even get time to sit and ask Allah to forgive us. These are the things that if we continue after the month of Ramadan, not to the extent that we used to do in the month of Ramadan, but in some ways if we continue some of these practices, remember that the taqwa and piety Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wanted to attain you and I in the month of Ramadan. We are successful in it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to continue these good deeds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us all on the right path. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. Assalamu alaikum.